Hi, it's Andrew again.
And I'm Daryl, and welcome to video number 8 in our series about how we made $250,000 in our first 12 months online. By now you should actually have your money-making ebook up and running if you've been following through our process. And so in this video we're going to talk about how to test and measure and fine-tune.
That's right. You may actually be a little bit surprised to learn that most of our books, when we first put them up, either break even or sometimes they even run at a loss. And that's a pretty natural part of the process because while we have done our best to make the book suit the market as we've talked about in the first few steps, what we have to do now is test and measure. So what we do is get the book or the product and the sales letter and the site into its best format as we possibly can from what we know, and then we let the market feed back to us and tell us what it wants from us before it will start to buy and before we can put the book into profit. How do we do that, Daryl?
Okay, what we do is we have a piece of split testing software which we use. The details of that are on our resource page, andrewanddaryl.com/ebooks. So what we do is we set up a piece of split testing software and then we start to make changes to our site. The sorts of things that we might modify are we try different headlines, we add different bonuses to the offer, we might add testimonials as we get them. They actually make quite a big difference to the whole thing. One thing that surprises people is probably the least effective thing to change is the price. In fact, oftentimes we find that when we put the price up, we can increase sales. It's not a huge impact, but we generally find that putting the price down on something really has very little impact at all, apart from reducing the profitability.
And sometimes it can actually work in reverse. I think it's something to do with the perceived value of the product. People seem to think if something costs more, it's actually it's a better quality or has more value to them. Our job is not to try and not to know what's going on in their head, but just to listen to what they're saying through their buying habits and so on. So with the split testing software, what this does is it will take an option that you might have, so an option A and option B. So let's say we have one headline, which is we call A, and one headline we call B. It will rotate A. We'll put A up on the site, and then as one person comes to visit, and then when the next person comes to visit, it will put B up on the site. Then the next person comes to visit, it will put A back up, and then B, then A, then B, and it will keep doing that for as long as you want it to do. Now, what it will also do is track how many people buy when headline A is up there, and how many people buy when headline B is up there. Now, we're just using headlines as an example. It can be anything. It can be the colour of the background of the site, it can be the size of the fonts, it can be the guarantee that you have, the price that you have, all sorts of things. So that A-B split testing is a very accurate way of working out what your clients are interested in, what's going to actually grab their attention and what works. Now sometimes you will not be able to guess it, and I've lost count of the amount of times that I've been surprised about what the actual market prefers, because sometimes a lot of times I actually guess it wrong. I don't know. So that's why I don't rely on my guesswork anymore. What I do is I test it and I measure it, and I ask the market, what is it that you really want? And they will tell you if you take the time to ask.
Absolutely. So what we're after is a conversion rate of over 1%. The numbers that we've given you so far work with only 1 in 100 people actually buying your product. So once you've got over 1% of people buying, as measured by your split testing, and I should say in order to get there, we generally would do somewhere around 10 different split tests. I know people that have done 50 or 60 split tests and really done some fantastic improvements to their sites. But we find that best use of our time, about 10 different split tests will generally get our conversion rate up over 1%. Once you do have your conversion rate up over 1%, then it's time to start working on your traffic driving strategies. Initially we use Google AdWords to drive traffic to our site. So once we actually have the site converting, then we ramp up the Google AdWords. We might add some more keywords, we'll start really working on our ads and the number of different variations of our ads that we have. We may even increase the cost per click slightly if we need to move the ad further up the page. But we'll spend a bit of time just really focused on increasing traffic, and it's not unusual for us to be able to double, triple or quadruple the amount of traffic that we're getting, and that's when an ebook really takes off. We can take it from around $100 a day net income up to $500 or $600 a day net income 7 days a week, and that is really when it starts to get exciting.
And one last secret when it comes to split testing: only test one thing at a time. Don't try and test more than one thing at a time, because the reason that you only test one thing at a time is because you need to understand what's making the changes. So if you put 5 different things up and you're rotating 5 different things when you change them, you'll won't be able to know what's working. And sometimes one thing might be working, but another thing that you changed is actually going in reverse, and it could be countering the effect of the other. So one thing at a time when you're using A/B split testing models. So that's split testing and testing and measuring. So make sure that you do that. That's a critical part of the process. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye.